Okay, so our story begins with Cindy has 1/2 foot of ribbon. She wants to cut the ribbon equally into 3 pieces. What will be the length in feet of each piece of ribbon? So just like yesterday, somebody tell me who's in the story and what do they have? Maddie T. Who's in the story?
Cindy.
Cindy's in the story. And what does Cindy have?
One half of ribbon.
She has 1/2 foot of ribbon. So if I just took my pencil and I underlined and boxed that in, what would I expect you to be doing? Doing the same thing. She wants to cut the ribbon equally into 3 pieces. What from this sentence is important for us to acknowledge that's happening? Parker?
Cut equally into 3 pieces.
So the word cut, the word equally, and 3 pieces. There's that important word equally. The minute I hear or see the words equally, I should be thinking multiply and divide, right?
Yes.
There it is. Now, when I think about multiply and divide and I see, Maddie Anderson, that it says cut, something should go off in my head. Am I putting these together or am I separating them?
Separating.
We are separating them. So I'm even going to put a little division sign right here because we are going to share this amount. We're going to cut it. So this is where we're going to take our whole that's in a rectangular form and we're going to put it where it says fraction strips because remember we're not using fraction strips today. We're going to use Play-Doh to model our thinking. So right now, this piece that I have in front of me is going to represent 1 foot of ribbon. 1 foot of ribbon. But do I have a whole foot of ribbon? What do I have? I only have half. I have half of the ribbon. So I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to, what would I need to do with my tool? Cut it in half. So I'm going to kind of partition it just like that. And I'm going to use my hand to kind of cover what we are pretending is not there. And with the half that I have left, Tanaya, what am I going to do with this half that I have left? How? I'm going to cut it in half again. I already cut it in half like that. What would I need to do next? What am I going to do with this half? What is Cindy going to do with this half? Grayson?
Cut it into thirds.
She's going to cut it into thirds. So I'm going to partition it into thirds. So 1, 2, 3. 2 cuts gives me 3 equal pieces. Now when I uncover, does that look like a fraction?
No.
Luke, what will I have to do so that I can call that a fraction? I have to cut the other side. I have to partition it just like this. And now what I know is that this represents one of those pieces. What is one of those pieces going to be called? When I have half and I cut it into thirds, what is this one piece going to represent when I think about the whole thing? Hamida, it's going to represent 1/6 of the foot, of the whole foot. So we know now that if we can do it with Play-Doh, we should be able to do it with my representation. I wish that I could give you Play-Doh on your test. I wish that I could give you Play-Doh on the STAR test, but I cannot. But you can certainly draw all the pictures you want. So that's why pictures are super important to know how to draw. So my representation is a fancy way of saying my drawing. So if I were going to draw a picture of this, what would I start with, Hamida? I would start with my hole. I'm going to start with a box. It looks just like my Play-Doh did. And when we started with our box, we labeled it 1 foot, because 1 foot is going to represent our whole amount. Colton, did she have a whole foot of ribbon, or did she have something else? What did Cindy have? She only had half. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to cut my picture in half. No one should have Play-Doh in their hands, because everybody is making a drawing just like I am. And when I cover up half, because that's really all she had, what am I going to do with the half? Soraya.
You're going to cut it into thirds.
I'm going to cut it into thirds. And when I uncover and I see that it doesn't look balanced, what does that tell me I need to do, Peyton? I need to cut it the other side into thirds. So right now, if your picture's not looking like mine, if you're not where I am, I may take your Play-Doh, because you should technically have everything that I should have. And I'm kind of disappointed if I don't see what I have written down. Okay, just making sure. You need to get with it. I don't know what you're doing. It looks like you're playing. That Play-Doh is going to be mine in a minute. All right. And remember, we get one of those pieces. So we're going to get one of these pieces right here. What part of the whole foot are we going to get? 1/6. 1/6 of the whole. All right. So the action, who can tell me that action again? Jacob? Is it separated, or are we sharing? We're sharing. We're sharing what? Well, we're sharing the ribbon. Okay? Remember, can we share people?
No.
Oh no. We had that conversation weeks ago. Sharing people would be disgusting.
No, we just said it. Like 3 minutes ago.
All right, and what is the operation that goes with that, Grayson?
Division.
It's division. And when we write our equation for division, does order matter?
Yes.
Yes. So what has to happen first? What comes first? What comes first? Your total has to come first. So what was our total? What was our total, Tyler?
1 whole.
Was our 1 whole? Did we have 1 whole as our total? Fabrizio, we only had a half. And what did we do with the half that we had, Dakota? Excellent. We divided it by 3. And when we divided the half by 3, what was our answer, Jace? Was it 6 or 1/6? 1/6. Remember, if we start with something tiny, we have to get something tiny to end with, right? Smaller? We know that the larger the denominator names, the smaller the piece. Okay, good job. All right, let's turn it over to the back. I don't even need my Play-Doh out right now. I'm just going to kind of put it in my container, and I'm going to turn it over to the back side. Okay, our number line. Our number line. Yeah, I don't need Play-Doh out for this side. This is the back side. When we think about our number line, boys and girls, we want to think about, well, what was it that we had? Well, we had a half. And in order to be able to model the half correctly, we have to first start with our whole amount. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the number 1 and kind of candy bar it like we did yesterday. And then I'm going to divide it into that 1/2 piece, because we know that the middle of 0 and 1 is 1/2. So basically, when I reference this is what she had. She had half of a ribbon. What did she do, Taylor Weeks, to the half of the ribbon that she had? She cut it into thirds. Take your pencil and cut it into thirds. But when I uncover, what has happened? Is this an appropriate number line?
No.
No, because we can't have a number line where half of it is partitioned and the other half isn't. They have to be equal pieces. So what will we have to do to the other piece, Colton?
Cut it.
We have to cut it in thirds as well. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces, which is why my denominator is going to be 6. This is 1/6. This is 2/6. 3/6. Oh my gosh, 3/6 is the same as 1/2. Who would have thought? 4/6. 5/6. And 6/6. 6/6 is the same as 1 whole. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It should. And we want one of those pieces. So when I take half and I divide it into 3 equal pieces, what is one of those pieces going to be? When we think about the whole foot, it's going to be 1/6. It's going to be one of these pieces right here. So let's do some thinking together. Somebody tell me, what happens when Sherri had, what did she start with? What did she start with? Zachary Lahal. What did Cindy start with? I'm sorry, it's not Cindy, it's Sherri. Sherri, Cindy. I think because I changed the name. It should be Cindy. What did Cindy start with? She started with 1/2 foot of ribbon. And she cut the ribbon into 3 equal pieces. And when she cut it into 3 equal pieces, Angel, each piece is 1/6 of the entire foot. When the fraction 1/2 is partitioned into 3 equal pieces, each piece is 1/6 of the whole. Just like yesterday, when we used the Play-Doh, when we drew a picture, when we used the number line, I want you to think about 2 things that you're noticing that are the same. Take 1 minute and then I'm going to call on you to give me some responses. Who would like to share something that they're noticing? Ion.
The dividend is the same.
The what?
The dividend is the same.
The answer's the same? Yes. So the answer is the same. What else are you noticing? Peyton? They both show part. What part is shaded? Grayson?
We're dividing by 3 each time.
We're dividing by 3 each time. Dividing by 3 each time. Okay. Anything else? Jagger?
On every single one we've done of these, we
divided by 3 each time.
Yes, so we've taken the whole, we've divided by 3, okay? Lily? Okay. Hamida?
And both on all 3 of them, you have to split both of the other halves into 2, or else it won't be a right fraction.
Okay, so we have to not only think about the half that we're talking about, but the other half that's not really there, right? Here's something that I noticed. Did you notice this too? That when I think about 1/2 being divided by 3 and I get an answer like 1/6, when we start with a small amount, what happens to our answer? We end with a smaller amount. Does that make sense? I mean, we all discussed that before we even started, that if you started with a fraction and you had to share it, wouldn't you end up with a smaller piece? Okay. So I want you to be thinking about that, because before we started, some of you were talking about that pizza, and we got all these answers where the pizza grew instead of it getting smaller. Okay? Take this paper and push it to the side. We're going to do another paper, and we don't have much time, so go ahead and roll out your 1 whole model while I pass out the next paper. Yes, ma'am.